Welcome, everybody. This is Freshly Squeezed Nerd, Attack of the Nerds, Episode 2. That's our second podcast. We're very excited to be back.
Woo!
I'm Josh. I'm going to be hosting today's episode, and then I have Will and Kenneth here with me. Same guys as the last time. I'm going to talk about more nerd stuff, so the things that make the nerd go round. I like that saying from last week.
The
nerd go around. That's kind of beautiful, actually.
For those of you who don't know, we're just a bunch of guys that like to talk about, nerd things. So we're talking about comics, video games, sci-fi, movies, comic books, TV shows. Everything. Anything and everything, essentially.
Agriculture.
Yeah.
Agriculture. Irrigation. Specifically.
Yes. Maybe some global warming.
I love the aqueducts.
Yeah.
The aqueducts.
I wanted to talk just to let everyone know that we do have a Facebook page, Freshly Squeezed Nerd. We do have a Twitter account as well. We do what?
I'm looking at Will.
I'm just drinking beer, man.
No, it's not beer. It's Odell's.
O'Doul's?
O'Delly's. Go ahead.
Anyway, so we do have Facebook, Twitter. Our first podcast is on YouTube, so you can go online right now and listen to that. We also are working on our iTunes. Probably by the time you listen to this, our iTunes will be fixed, and we'll actually have both episodes on there.
Hopefully.
But iTunes is tricky, so we'll have to work on that.
Freaking Bill Gates, man.
Whoever is in charge of quality control here, we'll get that straightened out for you. So by the time we get everything, you'll have at least 2 episodes on here to listen to, and just get everything caught up. So I want to start with Ken this time. It's been about 2 weeks since our last podcast. Kind of tell us what's been going on in your world. What you've been doing, what you've experienced, anything that you like the listeners to talk about.
Well, I have downloaded the new DLC for Titanfall, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet because it just came out the other day, and my day job has not allowed me time to play it.
I keep forgetting that's come out. It's like the big DLC thing for the past month, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah, it's not like
it's not really advertised that much.
Here's our DLC, here's our date, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And he kind of woke up and was like, something came out today. I don't remember. And then it was nighttime when I came home. I was like, oh yeah, DLC for Titanfall. So it's downloaded. I haven't played it yet. But
for those who don't know, can you kind of tell us a little more about it? What's the uniqueness about it?
It's supposed to be 3 new maps, one of them being a lush swamp jungle thing, so you could do the wall running on trees, which seems pretty cool. I'm kind of excited
Crouching
about that.
Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff, maybe?
Yeah, but with
guns.
With guns and robots.
Giant robots.
And stuff. I think you can customize your Titan now with emblems or colors and stuff. I believe that's one of the ones you were supposed to be able to do. I'm pretty excited about that too because I'm all about customization and being able to make my own mech or Titan, my own personal. I like to do the crazy stuff so it really stands out. Maybe some hot pink with some flames on them or something. I don't know. I'll do something
the
silly.
ultimate troll.
Yeah.
Giant mech.
I'll turn it and make it look like a Big Daddy because I'm sure that won't happen.
No.
There'll be 100 Big Daddies on that's going to be made at one point in time.
You could have a drill add-on or something so you could do that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, or the Optimus Prime look. Make the April Fool's joke a reality.
True, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really had a chance to do that, so I'm looking forward to that. But what I've been playing, I know last time that we talked, I've been playing some indie games, so still playing on those. Finished quite a bit of them. Me and my son finished a Double Dragon, Neon. Played some the Monkey's Island. I'm trying to remember the Shanks. Remember we defeated that. Ooh, the Deadlight. I believe it's Deadlight. That was a good one.
That game's awesome.
It surprised me a little bit because it's a side scroller, and I really like those. And it's been a while since I played those, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The story was kind of cool. It had some kind of twist. The ending was kind of predictable. So, but for the most part, I'd say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like how they did the flash scenes and some of the different abilities that you had. The shadow part was really intrigued because a lot of stuff that you interacted with, it had to deal with shadow, and then of course with the background scene with the colors and stuff, it was a very beautiful game. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was really surprised with how, especially for a side scroller, you don't really think about graphics for a side scroller, but I mean that game was just a beautiful looking game. The animations were really well done too, like all the character animations and stuff. It was really nice. I enjoyed that game too.
Yeah, I think from ever since Braid came out a couple years back, I think there's been a lot more developers making stuff for that side-scrolling type of game that is not only nostalgic but takes that next-gen feel as far as storyline and mechanics and gameplay to a different level. I think Braid was kind of that first one that kind of opened people's eyes to what you can still do with the
side-scrollers. Actually can tell a good story.
Yeah.
Then you had Shadow Complex that came out, and like the graphics on that game were fantastic too.
I'm actually playing that right now.
And that was like, well, side-scrollers can look this good? Jeez. And then it spawned, those two games kind of spawned a whole, slew of side-scrollers that kind of did that.
I had Shadow Complex forever, but never got around to playing it. And after I did Deadlight, and I knew Shadow Complex was a side-scroller, I instantly went into that, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that as well, too. And the graphics, I would say even on Shadow Complex, which is kind of funny, Shadow Complex is an older game than Deadlight, but I would say the graphics on it is much more detailed and beautiful than it was in Deadlight.
Well, you had that. Shadow Complex ran, though, on a better graphics engine. It's running on the Unreal Engine. So the Gears of War guys made that game, I think.
No, yeah,
right?
They did. Yeah,
and then but that one set up too more like a Metroidvania style, where you like get different gadgets or abilities, and you can go back to older areas and unlock new stuff. Right?
I think it's very Metroid-like, and just like Metroid, once you get past a certain part of level, because you see things that you can't get into. And you need that particular gadget, and of course further down the path you'll get that gadget. It allows it to where you can actually go back to that area. You can even go back to the beginning of the stage if you wanted to. Most games aren't like that, but like how in the original Metroids, where like on your maps it shows where it's squared blocks that you can move around. It's pretty much like that as well too, even though the game itself is not built into squared blocks. It kind of is, but isn't. It's hard to describe without you actually seeing it. So the map is in squared blocks, left, right, up, down, but how the level designs are made, of course, it's fluid. You can go anywhere on that stage. So it's kind of like a hybrid almost. But yeah, definitely Metroid-like. And I'm so far, I think I'm almost halfway, thoroughly enjoying it. Another game that I've been playing too, and it keeps drawing me back no matter how many times I try to get away from it, but it keeps sucking me back in, is Dota 2. I love it. I think that's why I specifically got my laptop so I could play, because the computer I had before was just a piece of junk. And I was like, well, I need a new gaming laptop. And one of the first things that I got on there was Dota 2. And it's funny because I would say I've gotten pretty good at it. I don't want to say that I'm league special, that I need to start going to competitions and stuff.
You're not pro yet.
I'm not pro yet. Maybe I'll get there. But the last two games that I played, it'd been maybe a couple months since my last session. And for whatever reason, I don't know if just the players are gotten dumb or just a particular group, but
you got a lot of kids off school now, so they're going to play Dota.
Get some practice.
Yeah.
I completely dominated like 2 matches in a row, and I just felt like I was a beast. And it was a great feeling. Of course, the next match after that, I got my butt handed to me. So, but I still felt really, really good because I hadn't played in a while. And that's a great game that you can take a little break from it. Of course, I don't know why you would take a break, but if you're playing something else and then you'll have nothing else to play and you want to go back to it, there's not really any change in the sense that you can just pick it up and you know exactly what to do. I mean, they're adding new things to keep it fresh and keep it new, so that's cool, but it's not like you have to learn the whole game all over again. So it's not like a game like Final Fantasy or something of that nature where it's so in-depth in the story and the mechanics and everything. So if you get halfway and then like 3 months pass and you go back and you're like, crap, what was going on again? I think I was saving the princess, but the cousin was stopping me, which happens to be my half-brother. that killed a mogul that was mine when I was a baby, but now I'm grown up and I forgot about it. Let me go back about 6 hours into the game and replay it a little bit.
I'm just going to start over.
Yeah, I'm just going to start over.
It's like a soap opera.
Yeah.
Describing.
Yeah. I did that with Final Fantasy 13 not too long ago. And yeah, because I didn't finish. That's like the only Final Fantasy I didn't do all the side quest stuff and 100% it. So I went back to 13 and played it. And yeah, I had no idea what was going on. Like even just for like combat, the battle system, I couldn't remember how to do anything. And I was just getting destroyed. And yeah, that didn't last that long.
What am I doing wrong?
I'm supposed to just hit A. That's all I'm supposed to do in this game, and it's not working.
So for a game that they do keep it fresh, it's nice that I can go back and I don't have to feel like a noob every time I play it. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell for the last 2 weeks. Because work has been killer. Stupid work.
Yeah. If we didn't have work, we would have a lot more content to talk about.
Yeah.
I think we have probably
lot
like
more,
5-hour podcasts every week. just if work didn't get in the way.
I would just set up a webcam in my basement. You might not want to look at that though. But.
Just beat Twitch all day.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds great, Ken. Will, what kind of stuff you had going on the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, again, work's been for me too, been kind of crazy. But I have had a chance to, nothing actually a lot different than last time. A lot of Dark Souls 2 still.
I was gonna say
I'm still playing that. I've actually been doing a lot of PvP, kind of like getting my build. Like I'm actually doing like 2 different multiplayer builds. I'm doing like an actual competitive, legit kind of build for multiplayer for PvP, and then I'm doing another just troll cheap like style build, and it's awesome. That's the most fun to do that. So I'm having a really good time with that. My character now has cat boots, butterfly wings, and a Mardi Gras mask.
Like a Disney character.
Exactly. And then I have like all, because this is like New Game Plus 2 that this character's on, so I have all the powerful spells in the game, and I've got all the like min-maxing done, so I'm doing crazy damage. As long as I don't get hit, like I'll be fine. But if I hit anybody with this character, like they're instantly dead. I've gotten so many like messages online where people are just like pissed off at me for doing this and saying the report to me. It's so fun. It's so fun.
You got killed by Tinkerbell.
Yeah. They're like, you're a scrub. You don't know how to play the game. I'm like, yeah, I do. I just killed you. You should just get good at the game, man.
You should be like, clearly you don't know.
Clearly you don't know how to play the game. So I've been playing a lot of that. I've almost got the platinum trophy for PS3 now, though. So I'm almost done with that, and then I can go to the PC version. And just that's probably the version I'm going to stay with, is the PC version, just because of how much better the game looks and all the different mods you can get for it. Probably just stick with that one. So yeah, so far I've been a lot of that, and I've still been messing around on Assassin's Creed 4. I was telling you guys earlier, that game, I really like it, but it still has some of the little things in Assassin's Creed that really makes me mad and frustrated with the games. Just like the random like bugginess of it, and when you're trying to kind of hide or stealth around, you randomly like climb up walls and stuff. That drives me insane. And it still happens in this game.
It happens at the worst possible times too.
Yeah, it's like I was telling you, like I was in this mission for like 20 minutes trying to do all the side stuff, and then I'm trying to lure a guard over to where I'm like hiding in the grass to, take him out with like, stealth and stuff, and he sees me and he's coming back to me, and then I'm trying to go back to my little grassy area, and then I start trying to climb up a boulder for some random reason, and he sees me, and just because I get spotted, I lose the mission, and I have to start over. I was not happy. So that was like my last experience with Assassin's Creed, so I wanted to put that down for a little bit so I can kind of recover for a little bit.
Defuse.
Yeah. So there's that, and then I actually saw Godzilla yesterday. And that movie's been getting kind of mixed reviews. I think all around, like most critics are really liking it, and a lot of people are really liking it. But it's one of those that you either really like it apparently or you hate it. I really liked it. I thought it was really entertaining.
It has Heisenberg in it.
It has Heisenberg. He does not try to give Godzilla meth.
No.
Which I was kind of expecting.
Oh, there was no scene where he was like making a bomb up with a bell, or
no,
trying
nothing.
to blow up Godzilla.
Nothing.
Or like he goes up to Godzilla and is like, "This is my territory, bitch."
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
No, nothing. It was very surprising, but it was good. The movie though, it kind of teases you the whole time. It'll like start to show something really cool and then cut away to a different scene. Then it shows something really cool. This is gonna be awesome. And then it cuts away, and then you're like, "Oh guys, this is gonna be nothing." Yeah. But then it's like building up to the last like 20 minutes of the movie, which is fantastic. Yeah, that's just worth the price of admission alone.
The last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, weren't they like, because they were making this, because obviously the one back in, what was it, like 2001, one with Matthew Broderick, that got
terrible.
Like, terrible. Nothing like Godzilla, and it got really, really bad reviews.
Terrible.
And so, of course,
it's endorsed by Puff Daddy, though.
Do what?
It was endorsed by Puff Daddy.
The last one?
Yeah. That tells you a lot right there.
Yeah.
Well, he had the song in the soundtrack, so I assume he endorses it.
So they were making this one, and at first, the main group of people that were upset about it was the international group, because they were huge fans of Godzilla and still are, of the classics and everything like that. And that's what made a big stink about it. So when they made it this one, they went and made it more authentic to the originals, and they were on board. And now it's like they're not on board with it now. Isn't that how it's going on right now?
I don't know about that part, but I know it's actually a lot similar to the original Godzilla, where you don't really see a lot of the monster or any of the monster stuff until like kind of the end of the movie. 'Cause it's more about how the human race kind of deals with this sort of disaster happening, and like Godzilla's kind of in the background wrecking stuff. Supposedly, I don't know if I'm spoiling anything, but it's all kind of a backdrop to what all is going on the human level of it, which is like that's what the original did, I believe.
So how would you compare that to a couple of years ago? We had that J.J. Abrams Cloverfield movie. How would you compare it to
I actually
that?
didn't see Cloverfield.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see Cloverfield, but
Yeah,
what it
I
reminded
haven't
me of, what I was thinking right when I left the movie, I really want to watch Pacific Rim again.
That movie is awesome.
Pacific Rim is fantastic. That's more like Power Rangers kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Because you have like the robots and the monsters
the
fighting.
Zoids and-
Yeah, that's so. I went home and watched Pacific Rim like right after Godzilla. I was like, oh, these are both good. There's a YouTube guy I watch, Jeremy Johns, I think that's who it is. He did a really cool comparison that makes a lot of sense when you're kind of comparing Godzilla and Pacific Rim to like fighting games. You have like Pacific Rim is like Mortal Kombat, whereas Godzilla is kind of like Fight Night, and more of a realistic kind of take on that kind of situation, as opposed to Pacific Rim's like Mortal Kombat with just crazy stuff happening all the time. It makes a lot of sense. That's kind of a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much about it as far as what I've done this week. Again, like you, work's been nuts, so I haven't really had a chance to do a lot of stuff. But
Still,
the stuff I've done has been good.
It's been good stuff, and a lot of times, just like everyone else out there, we still have our normal lives that we have to do. We have to pay our bills, and we have to take care of the wife and kids.
There's
and
not really a lot of new
girlfriend
games out either, so I'm still playing games that I've enjoyed playing for the past however so often. There hasn't been anything new, which is going to change soon. There's some new stuff coming out.
Wolfenstein New Order comes out tomorrow. Of course, by the time this podcast comes out, it'll probably already be out, but I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, I've seen
really
seen some of the trailers for it, and there's been a lot of games out there that have done that alternate, reality kind of stuff. Where
Homefront.
Yeah, Homefront's been one.
Yeah.
That one.
He said good games.
That's a good game.
Oh, you did? Okay.
That's probably not the best example.
Homefront's so good.
But a lot of people like to take huge historical moments like World War II and make a twist to it. Talk about Resistance. Resistance is probably a better example of something like that. So, yeah, Wolfenstein looks good. It's been a while since they've done a Wolfenstein that has been really good.
Yeah, the last one was on the 360 and PS3, and that one was not
Average,
that great.
under average.
At best, yeah. That game was... Return to Castle Wolfenstein was on the original Xbox and PS2?
Yes.
That one was really good.
Yes.
That one was good. So if it's like that style of Wolfenstein, not like the newer style, I think it'll be really good.
It was supposedly supposed to be like really heavy in the mature content.
That's what I was seeing too.
So it's not supposed to be just like your everyday shooter. It's supposed to be pretty hardcore. And on top of that, it's coming with the Doom 4, or I don't think they're calling it Doom 4.
Just Doom.
Just Doom Beta. What I'm pretty excited about, because that's supposed to be the remake of the original, which this would be like the third remake of the original Doom. Because you
I
had
think
Doom, and then
Doom-
Doom 4 was the remake of the first Doom.
Was it Final Doom? Was Final Doom a remake? I don't remember. They've been, I don't know.
There's
They've
lots
called
of
them
them.
all kinds of weird names and stuff.
They keep on trying to bring it back, and it hasn't quite worked out every time.
I don't know. I've enjoyed it.
Have
Doom
you?
3 was awesome.
Yeah.
I played that when it first came out on PC, and man, that game was fantastic. I remember I actually had a computer that could run it okay, and I was like just sitting in the dark playing that game with headphones on. Oh, that was so good. That game is awesome.
We said, Josh, did you play the Doom BFG edition that
Yeah.
came out just a couple years back?
That one I did not play. No.
I definitely recommend checking that one out.
It's cheap, like less than $20, and it
Yeah.
has all the Dooms on it.
All the Dooms. It's even got the classic Dooms on there on the CD. So it's got like Doom 1 and 2. I don't think it has 3. I think it just has Doom 1 and 2.
Doom 3.
Oh, it does have Doom 3?
Doom 3 is like the main. It's like Doom 3 BFG edition.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Doom 1 and 2 are like the special stuff that it comes with.
Okay, I gotcha.
But it also has like the DLC for Doom 3. I forget what it was called.
The Resurrection of Evil.
Resurrection of Evil, and then like an extra like couple missions that were made specifically for it.
Yeah, it was.
Like extra DLC stuff.
If you didn't play that, I'd recommend that because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And me and Will played the multiplayer, which it took us like, 45 minutes to find a match? Or 30 minutes to
I
find
think
a
we
match?
only played that to get the achievements for it. We were just boosting on
Yeah.
it, and it wasn't really working right. We finally got it to work, I think. But it's it's for, what was the game, like 8 years old when it last came out, Doom 3?
Because it was original Xbox.
The original Xbox and PC before that, it's held up pretty well. It still looks okay.
I definitely recommend that one. And to listeners too.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Like I said, it's super cheap and you get a lot of content with it. So.
And you get some achievements, too.
Achievements are worth it.
And if you're like Will, then you're going to want those achievements.
I know what you're talking about.
For me this week, really the only thing I've done gaming-wise is picked up Splinter Cell Blacklist. I'm a big fan of the stealthy games. Splinter Cell, Hitman, Batman. I like those stealth-type games because it seems like I get a lot more gameplay out of them, even though they're probably a pretty short game, but because you have to kind of crawl through the game, it lasts a little longer for you. So I've been playing that recently. But I wanted to skip kind of what I've been going over this week and kind of get y'all's thoughts on some of the stuff that's been announced the last couple weeks.
There's been a couple things.
Yeah, there's been a couple things. So I wanted to throw those out there and let y'all discuss it. And that way the viewers will kind of get an idea of where we are as far as, the month is concerned, and maybe get your thoughts on some of these upcoming stuff. So I'm going to start with the first one, $399 Xbox One without the Kinect. It's going to be coming out. The original Xbox One came out just last year, not 7 months ago at this point. And they're taking the Kinect out, and they're just selling the system by itself. And they're not going to compensate people who bought day one.
Well, to be honest, and this is coming from me where I got the Xbox One on day one. I knew it was going to have the Kinect, and I knew it was $100 more than the PlayStation 4. And having said all that, I wouldn't say I knew in a means by, like, I had some person working behind the scenes with Microsoft that told me this information.
I thought you do.
Yeah, right?
It's all about who you know.
It's all about who you know. You kind of have to know that they were going to do that. That they were going to eventually, within the next year, sell the Xbox One without the Kinect, and it was going to be cheaper.
And I would say at this time, PS4 sales have been doing a lot better than what Xbox One sales are doing. So they take the Kinect out of it and they drop it $100 to the same price as the PS4, in my opinion, to make up for the lack of sales, to gain some ground on what PS4 has been doing the last couple months.
But like the system still isn't as powerful as the PS4. That's the thing. When you're making it the same price as something that's more powerful than what you're offering. I mean, that was kind of what the Xbox had over the PlayStation, was the Kinect and what all that could do. That's kind of missing the point if you're not getting the Kinect with the Xbox, kind of what all the stuff that it can do. It's great that they're offering that. I mean, it's another choice for consumers. I mean, that's always great. But I mean, to me, it's kind of like you're missing the point of the system.
Yeah, but the thing about the PlayStation though is, yes, it's a more powerful system, but it's not running on the more powerful operating system. Look how many times when the games are like, it's going to run at 1080 and it's going to run at 60 frames per second, and then a month later, like, well, it might not run at 1080p.
As they said about Watch Dogs.
It might not run at 60
Supposed to,
frames per
right?
second.
Huh?
Watch Dogs is supposed to, right?
No, they said it
changed
was,
it.
and then they changed it. It's going to be sub 1080p and sub 60.
That's not the only game that they've done that to. So I agree, and it's not that I'm hardcore Xbox. I like them both equally. There's pros and cons to both, I believe. But the thing with PlayStation, they have this awesome system, but they don't use it. And with the Xbox One, I actually think it's a more powerful system than what it could be. It's just they don't know how to use it either.
That's true too. Like the memory that they use is different. I think it's the memory that's the biggest difference between the two. But it's just harder to program for than the PlayStation is. It's kind of like the reverse of last console cycle where PlayStation 3 was harder to program for than the Xbox. And you actually had more 1080p games on the Xbox as opposed to the more powerful PS3. Unless you were like a Sony studio and you were making like Uncharted, which looked fantastic. But everything else that was made for both systems. I mean, look at Bayonetta for both systems when that first came out. That was a garbage game on PS3. Skyrim
Yeah.
was a mess.
We won't talk about the save incident on PS3.
Well, even Dark Souls 2, because I'm playing on PS3 now and I've played through over 100 hours on Xbox and almost the same amount on PlayStation. It's not as good on PlayStation as it is on Xbox. It's a lot smoother on Xbox. But getting back to like the new current gen stuff, I don't know, like it just feels like the Kinect was kind of, it was $100 more, yeah, but it also gave you more. You got more out of your system with that than you did with the PlayStation. I mean, you could buy the camera for the PlayStation, but it's kind of stupid. It doesn't
work the same way.
It's like it's almost like the Kinect from the original Kinect. Like it's not as feature friendly as the new Kinect is. It's a lot more limited. But like the stuff that the Kinect does, if people would actually just try it, it's actually pretty awesome. I mean, I use it like all the time.
For what?
I do it for like I got my surround sound on my TV all hooked through it. So I go home and I go Xbox on and everything powers on. That's pretty awesome. And then just the quick command stuff to immediately go to this game that I want to play or snap to Netflix, play this, and it just goes to it immediately. There's like no delay at all. That's nice. It just like makes me being lazy that much easier.
So do you think
awesome.
that they took the Kinect out to actually give the consumer an extra choice, or do you think it was just purely just to get to that same price point as a PlayStation 4?
Price point,
Yeah.
for sure. But, I don't like that they took the Kinect out, but I can see, I mean, that made the purchase cheaper for people. And they gave them a choice because they're still going to offer it with the Kinect, obviously. So they could still buy it with the Kinect if they want to.
Well, I think that's what's going to make it a game changer because they still make it with the Kinect.
Are they going to sell the Kinect separately, though? I don't know if they've said that or not.
They haven't said that yet.
I would imagine they would.
But still, you have two options. If you want to get the system with or without the Kinect, and it's $100 cheaper, I think that's going to be a game changer, and I think that's going to really boost the sales for Xbox One. I'm not going to say that it's going to pass PS4, but I think it's going to make it
It's going to make it a lot more appealing.
a lot more closer race, like neck to neck, than say a one-sided how it is right now with the PS4. But I kind of want to flip it with you, Josh, and not to call you out, but I know you don't have an Xbox One or a PS4 yet, and I know you've been debating on which one you want to get. Is you looking at a consumer side for you that doesn't have either, which one appeals to you then?
With them being both the same price, then that definitely makes the decision a little more difficult, because originally if I had $500 in hand and I want to buy one of them, I could buy the PlayStation 4 and get some games with it, or I could just buy the Xbox One and be done. So making the price point the same does make it a little more challenging. At that point, that would really get me to look at what games are available before I made my purchase of which one. Microsoft has been really good at having really great first-party games that make you buy that Xbox One. Plus with the
Titanfall. Excuse me.
Yeah, Titanfall is one. But, PlayStation 4 does have, The Last of Us coming out, Infamous, Second Son, Killzone, all that good stuff. But Microsoft getting ready to come out with some other stuff that I'll talk about here in a
I
second.
see that on your notepad there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
pretty big
Stop
one.
cheating. You're cheating.
It's just right there in front of me. How can I not look at it? That's what she said.
So it would definitely make the decision more difficult. So basically, it might go up based off availability. I'll walk in, whichever one's available, that might be the one I go for price point wise. So yeah, you're definitely right. That does change the consumer mindset of it. But for Christmas, they can come out with the Kinect separately and charge $120, $150, and make extra money off.
I was thinking
of
that too. Like, I don't think that's going to be $100. I mean, that's a pretty advanced piece of tech.
Because the original one was
130, I think.
130.
50?
150.
Yeah, I think
it was 150 when it started out.
150. Okay.
So,
but if that alone, I think new still the Kinect one is like $110. It's not even below $100.
Exactly.
So the Kinect 2 is going to be, I don't even know.
Yeah. So moving on, one of the things that they just talked about recently, let's stay on the Xbox topic for a second. They recently just decided that for Xbox 360, Gold subscription is not required to view Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube.
About time.
Yeah.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
Why would you everybody, it's free with even Nintendo was offering it for free with the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
And they always charge.
Yeah, I know. That's about time. That's all I have to say. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Well, I think this is the direction with their new CEO.
His new take on it's been really good so far.
I think that's part of his initiative, going in the right direction. And that's what if you go on, when I went on my Xbox One to download the DLC for Titanfall, I saw on there a little advertisement for Xbox Gold, and it says on there, "You've said it, we've listened, and we've done it." And I think that's a powerful message that they've actually said that, hey guys, we are listening, and here's the changes.
Yeah, they're not only that. The Games for Gold program they're doing too is a lot better too. Like, I think the next, in June, I think Dark Souls is going to be free. The first Dark Souls.
Yes.
Get that if you haven't gotten that. Get that, and then they're doing Xbox One games. They're doing Halo Spartan Ops, which I'm glad I didn't buy that. I almost bought that the other day. Before I saw that, I was like, thank you. And then I can't remember the name of the other one. That's going to be Xbox One that you get. It's like a little adventure game that's supposed to be pretty good. But yeah, just the quality of the games they're offering. Remember when this program first started? It was really old Xbox 360 games that you were getting, and then now it's actually getting pretty decent. And it's going to start, I think, PlayStation Plus the last few months.
Yeah, they come out with some really good stuff.
They did. Last few months though, it's been kind of disappointing. It's just been indie titles that they've been putting out, and I don't know, that's just not really appealing to me. But if Xbox, if they start cranking it up, they can compete.
I just think there's just so much stuff to offer for that Games for Gold program or the PlayStation Plus program that they could be doing new quality stuff every week, and have a good product for the consumer. Mm-hmm. There's just so much out there nowadays, especially if you go way, way back to even the old school stuff. they can pull out Xbox One stuff, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Give that stuff for free, and for having this program, I like PlayStation Plus. I think last year PlayStation Plus had a lot of great games I ended up buying and downloading.
Because they had BioShock Infinite, Tomb Raider, I think. Was Tomb Raider on there?
I think so. It was on discount or something like that.
And then...
Well, to answer your question earlier about the Gold, Xbox Live Gold subscribers for Xbox One is get Max, The Curse of Brotherhood.
That's it. Yeah. That's
Halo Spartan Ops. And then for 360, or see here, June, you'll get a discount on Forza 5 and Rise Son of Rome. So you'll get a discount on that.
Okay.
For Xbox One.
Yeah. And then for 360, you're going to Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition and Dark Souls.
That was the other one, yeah.
And Charlie Murder.
Charlie Murder's pretty cool. That one looks really cool.
So it's kind of like what you're talking about, where PlayStation Plus, you got these really great games, and then Xbox was like, well, we're going to do that too. And the games were kind of, some were okay, some were really. They gave you Assassin's Creed Revelations just before Assassin's Creed 4 came out.
And Assassin's Creed 2 and Fable 3 and
stuff
you could go to the store and buy for $5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now it looks like they're actually getting the better content with, the Halo Spartan Ops was like, what, $20 at one point?
Yeah, I think now it's down to 10, but I mean, that's still kind of a high profile game. It's still sort
That's
of
the
new.
first party.
It's still sort of new. It's not been out that long.
Right. And then the Max, the Curse of Brotherhood, I think that's going for about $10-$20 as well, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it looks like they're starting to head in the right direction, especially with the HBO Go free and the Netflix and the Hulu that you don't have to have live. Again, I think that's going to be a game changer. Going back to not only are they lowering it $100, now you don't have to have live to get this free content. Like I said, it's going
And
to.
considering it's a system where they call it the Xbox One, for the system to be all-inclusive entertainment type of system, they should make it a little more friendly for people to buy that and not have to jump into Xbox Gold to be able to do some of those entertainment things, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, etc.
I mean, it wasn't offering anything different. I actually kind of liked the PlayStation Netflix interface more than the Xbox's.
I do too.
Like, I thought it was just laid out a lot better, and you didn't have to have PlayStation Plus to use it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they're doing that now. It's kind of like it's getting a little bit more even as far as Sony and Microsoft. They're going to start trading punch. I can't wait for E3. I mean, E3 is going to be pretty awesome with these two. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, a couple months away. It's not too far away.
That's not like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it really that?
June.
Okay.
June 9th, I think.
I was thinking July for some reason.
Oh my gosh, what a noob.
I'm going to be all over that. I'm going to take a couple days off that weekend.
I'm going to call in sick.
We'll just
My new job.
we'll live podcast it.
Yeah.
We'll just take a week off. All right, so moving on, the big game got announced this week: Halo 5 Guardians.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you looked at they have a little picture, and it looks like the character may be a female, the lead character for the game.
I say yes and no. Yes, I'm excited. No, that okay. Come on, what do they say? Fall 2015. I'm like, really? That far away? Is it 15 or 16?
Because I think this year they're doing the Master Chief Collection, aren't they?
Yes.
Is that what it said? It's Halo 1 through 4 on Xbox One?
Yeah, there was talks about them doing the
fall
bundle.
of 2015. I'm like, really? And of course, most games do that. They'll announce it this year, and it'll be a year and a half before it comes out.
They're just starting that hype train early.
But Halo 4 has been out for a while now. I mean,
2 years, a year and a half, 2 years.
We should have gotten Halo. We're in the first year of our next gen systems. We should have had a Halo game.
And they just announced the Gears of War 4 is going to be on it too. I think that's going to show at E3 possibly. It's hard to think of a winter without, or a Christmas holiday without a Gears of War or a Halo. I guess last year they had the new system. I mean, Microsoft usually has some sort of big something.
I know, right? I mean, it's always been either Halo or Gears of War.
Well, I guess you have that Master Chief Collection if that's what comes out. And Halo 2 is my favorite one, so I mean, I'll be excited. I'll pick that up. You talked last time about games getting re-released.
Well, that would be one I would. That's a little bit different.
I mean, that's a good value, 4 games, and if they up-res the graphics and stuff.
I mean, a shooter versus like an RPG where you already know the story and the twists and turns. I know, it's kind of like watching the movie over and over again.
Yeah.
Some movies I will, some movies it's like watching a murder mystery movie as a second time through. It's like, well.
You got to think that with that collection, it has to be multiplayer. They have to have multiplayer on it. Is it going to be all the maps from all the games?
That would be crazy
that
ridiculous
would be
too.
Insane. Yeah, I'd be all over that.
I mean, that's a game, going back to our first podcast. If that was a $60 game, it would still be worth it because look how much content you're getting and look how much game value you're getting.
If you get all the DLC maps, and I mean that's pretty good.
And that would make me happy in a sense that we're not getting Halo 5 until next year.
See, I cheered you up already.
A little bit.
I made you happier.
Y'all have a problem with if one of the main characters is a woman?
No.
Yeah.
As long as she's in the kitchen making some sort of food.
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
Half our listener base just went down a notch.
No, I think that's fine. I don't care.
Well, look at Halo Reach. They had female Spartans in there, and I thought they were pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
And especially
Cortana, she's female.
Right.
So.
Well, as far as Spartan goes, well, look at the live action that they did.
The the soldiers when they're like in training.
Right, that
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
What was it called? It was Halo. Wasn't an Event Horizon, was it? 'Cause
Forward
it's
Unto Dawn.
Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah. Okay.
Event Horizon's a movie.
Watched that not too long ago.
But Forward Unto Dawn, I don't know if you watch it. That's actually really good.
Yeah.
And it has female Spartans in that one as well too. So they're out there, and I think they're just as powerful as the male Spartans. And I think this is kind of in the direction where they're finally going to start getting into that universe and that lore of everything. So that's what makes me pretty
I think
excited.
it's good too. I mean, it's just new. I mean, there's a lot more female gamers out there now too than when Halo just started.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's characters that they can identify with. So I mean, that's fine. I mean, I've always been a big fan of the Halo games. I think having a female, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Well, females probably play just as much as males do now. It used to, the whole stereotype.
Astigmatism.
Stereotype. That's the word I'm looking for. Darn you all duels.
Or duels.
Would y'all have a problem if in the new Halo game that you're not playing as Master Chief at all?
Well, I was kind of thinking of that because you see the new Spartan, it's like, where are you going to play as Master Chief? Because Master Chief is supposed to be the main hero. I think if it was completely no Master Chief, like you saw him but you couldn't play with him, I would be upset. But if they kind of did like a split where you did some with Master Chief, some with
like
the
how
new
they
one.
did in 2 with Arbiter and
Yes.
Master Chief. I don't see it being a big problem if it's like an actual just numbered entry in the Halo series. I think you have to be able to play as Master Chief to some extent. I mean, Halo 3 ODST, we were like the ODST soldier,
Halo
was
Reach.
Halo Reach.
You were different
Yeah.
soldiers.
So I mean, that's fine. ODST, I actually really like that game.
I thought it was a good one.
It was really good.
You get hit like once and you're almost dead.
Yeah, and it was kind of open worldish a little bit, not open world, but it had like a lot more variation in the level design.
Exploration.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But I didn't mind it. But I think if you have an actual numbered entry in the Halo, I mean, you have to have Master Chief in it.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to.
Well, even in Halo Reach, even though you played with him, he did a cameo.
Yeah.
So.
Get him off the planet.
All right, so my last topic I got on here before we take a break, another game announcement. Far Cry 4
Yes.
got announced.
Yes.
The little image that they showed on there looks very similar to Far Cry 3, so it looks like they're going to stick with that same type of that setting, that kind of jungle setting involved, but the bad guy is definitely different. And I know both of y'all played Far Cry 3 and enjoyed it a lot.
I would be okay with it. I thoroughly enjoyed Far Cry 3. And, why fix it if it's not broken?
Yeah, that's like my thing about it is I'm still kind of cautious about going into it just because 3 is the only good game I think in the series. I think the other ones, especially 2, is absolute garbage. I cannot stand that game. But I mean, 3, I liked it so much in part because it surprised me so much with how good it was. I got really into that game. So as long as, like you said, as long as they stick to the same sort of gameplay formula, they don't give your character malaria that you have to like take medicine for. Like in 2, that was the dumbest game mechanic ever. But as long as they keep it with the same formula and that crazy villain kind of thing.
Well, some bit of a different story. Obviously, you got to have a crazy villain, but you don't want to have like the same exact story.
No.
What are some of the things that you liked about Far Cry 3?
The openness of the game.
It was a huge
You can kind of go and do whatever you wanted to. The crafting was really fun, and it's got that kind of. It's like Ubisoft Montreal. I think that's the same studio that puts out the Assassin's Creed games and stuff too. They all have that same sort of gameplay mechanic where you have like a central location to go to, you finish that little thing, and it opens up little side areas all around it. And it's just that kind of gameplay is just kind of addicting because it's like you're always opening up new stuff to do.
I like the hunting.
And the hunting was good, and the gameplay was really sharp too. Like the shooting was really good, and the controls were really sharp.
It was like, well, I was telling you, like,
Other than the driving was kind of bad.
Yeah, that was
terrible. You went over a speed bump and your Jeep exploded.
Yeah. But I like, well, again, with the last podcast where I was talking about Assassin's Creed 3, where I like the hunting in that. And of course, I had some hunting in Assassin's Creed 4. And like you brought up, Ubisoft Montreal made those. They made the Far Cry 3, and it had the same kind of hunting aspect on there. Not like going around like killing animals and stuff, but it's it's fun. It was fun to do it because, like you said, with the crafting system, it wasn't something.
It made it kind of, you had incentive to do it.
Exactly. It wasn't just there just to be filler. It actually had a point in the system.
To quote the executive producer for Ubisoft Montreal, talking about Far Cry 4, he says that wanted to take their franchise to the next level and create a game that will surprise and exceed fan expectations. Ubisoft likely won't say much until E3, but as usual, Far Cry 4 revolves around weapons, animals, vehicles to allow players to create and tell emergent stories. If you kind of look at, and they've already announced their pre-order bonus, you'll receive a free upgrade to the limited edition, which include Herc's Redemption, which is some DLC, and it'll also include Herc's signature harpoon gun called the Impaler.
Yes. Ubisoft games always have that first run of limited edition stuff that you get. Man, I don't know, man. Did you play Far Cry Blood Dragon?
I did not.
That was the 80s style.
Holy crap, that game is fantastic.
It was pretty awesome.
It's better than Far Cry 3.
Really?
It's so good. It like streamlines the stuff in Far Cry 3. I mean, because it's an arcade game. It's like a $15 download. It's not as big, obviously, but it's so fun.
But the 80s cliche catchphrases and the
it's
music
so good.
and the cutscenes, it's just hilarious.
And it kind of makes fun of game tutorials too at the beginning. I don't know, that game. I laugh so much playing that game. I'm a big fan of like cheesy 80s action movies.
It's like he picks up a rock and he throws it and like a building explodes. Because it just happens.
That kind of silliness, yeah. That game is so good. So you need to play that. That's your assignment.
That's my assignment.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
It's amazing. I mean, they've got to follow Blood Dragon. I mean, that's something pretty big to follow. If it's half as entertaining as Blood Dragon was, I'll be happy.
Nice.
So we talked about a lot of great things. You know, we had a lot of stuff announced recently. We had our own stuff to go through. What were you doing?
Just
no touching.
Okay. So we want to take a quick break here for us to collect ourselves, and then we're going to get into the main topic of our discussion. So we'll be right back for you. Thank you so much.
Woo! Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Just a little short break for you. Had to, refill our drinks and collect our thoughts.
Pepsi.
Everything tastes really good.
Water is
right
delicious.
Yeah.
It's good water.
It's good stuff. Just a reminder, we are on Facebook and we do have a Twitter account. Our episodes, our podcasts are going to be on YouTube and iTunes. So definitely check those out.
Clarify the Twitter, just in case.
What do you mean?
Well, our Facebook is Freshly Squeezed Nerd. On the Twitter, if you look us up, it's Freshly Squeezed N. That's the only thing that was available at the time. So it's spelled a little bit differently. But I think if you
search the name Freshly Squeezed Nerd, you should find us for sure. Our Twitter handle will be spelled differently, but then our actual name on there will be Freshly Squeezed Nerd. So we send lots of updates. We scour the internet for new information that comes out, game related, nerd related. Silence.
Sorry. Don't judge me.
And we'll definitely repost that, retweet that for you so y'all can see. That way you can just have one website to follow and not have to follow all the different ones. We'll do that for you, and we'll kind of consolidate it onto our Freshly Squeezed Nerd website. That way it makes things a little more easier for y'all.
We trim the fat.
Exactly. We like that.
Because we like to party.
We like the fat.
Anyway.
So the main topic I want to talk about today, a lot of things came out recently. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game came out a couple weeks ago that came out with the game. Recently, a Marvel exec talked about they're not going to do a Avengers video game based on the movies until they find the right developer for that. So that kind of sparked kind of a thought with me. Over the years, there's been lots and lots of video games that have been made solely based on a movie that's come out in conjunction. And for the most part, they've been pretty bad. Not a lot of people buy them, get really bad reviews, and why is that? So I kind of took a little more thought into it. Made a list of a bunch of different ones out there. For example, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 that just came out a couple weeks ago. I looked these up on Metacritic, and there's a range of these scores because for some reason, like an Xbox 360 one might get a slightly higher score than the PlayStation 3 one versus the PC one. They might just vary just a little bit, but for the most part, they're around the same range. Amazing Spider-Man 2 got a 50 to 55 on Metacritic. And for those who don't know, Metacritic takes all the scores online and they average them out, so you get to kind of an overall average based on all the entire scores out there from every single review out there. Kind of gets that score. So usually they're a little higher than what they really are, because you'll have some publishers out there and some game companies that will give a kind of a higher review, but for the most part it's kind of a good average to go off of. Amazing Spider-Man 2 got a 50 to 55. The last Captain American, not based on the Winter Soldier, but the one before that, got a 60. The very first Thor that came out got a 38.
It's pretty good, right?
Well, no, this isn't golf.
Oh, okay.
It's higher the score.
I gotcha.
Got a 38. We got some other bad ones on here. Harry Potter, the last Deathly Hallows Part 2 got a 43. James Bond, Bloodstone got a 65. Star Wars Episode 3 got a 60. So some pretty bad scores for gaming, because if you're like me, I'm usually playing the ones that are like in the 90s up. Those are the games I like to play.
Especially if your time's limited.
Exactly.
So you want to play.
And if you only want to buy one game that month, you're not going to buy a game that is in the 60s, 50 range of scores. You're going to buy one that's probably in the upper 80s or 90s. For example, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on the original Xbox got a 93 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
So, and I just happened to saw that as I was going through, because I was looking at some Star Wars scores on here, and Star Wars Episode 3 got a 60, but Knights of the Old Republic, that had nothing to do with a movie, got a 93. So I want to try and get your thoughts. First of all, I guess my main question would be, why are they so bad?
I think a lot of it goes to two things. I think really go into it. I think budget is going to be one. Games now are so expensive to make. A movie that's really using a video game as kind of like a marketing kind of tool isn't really going to spend AAA money to make a good game. And then you've got time restrictions, because you have a set date when you have to get the game out. You can't delay the game, and you've probably not started on the game until 6 months before it's supposed to come out. So, you've got a lot of time restrictions to get it done and get it finished. That's why you see a lot of games that are like, movie games that are going to be like glitchy and stuff, like the newest Spider-Man. So I haven't had a chance to play it personally, but one of the knocks I heard on it was that it was super glitchy. You don't really have a lot of quality control time to kind of test it out. And like I said, budget reasons, like I know Amazing Spider-Man 2, one of the knocks I heard about it looks like a PS2 game. Even on the PS4, it looks that bad. And you got to think they don't have the money to pay for, one of the high-end graphic engines. And developing on the PS4 is not cheap. So, they're just really looking for more return on their investment, because I know people are going to buy it anyway just because they're hyped about the movie, so they'll buy the game. That's what I think, just the budget and time. They don't have a lot of time to put into it.
I agree with that too, because if you think about it, a good game, some companies will spend 1-2 years plus, maybe even, on developing that game.
I think nowadays most of your blockbuster games are taking 2.5 to 3 years.
Yeah, at least 2 years,
at
the very least.
A movie is shot within a year or less, and even within that time frame, they don't start making the game for that movie until after the movie is already done with production. Not necessarily that the movie is out, but they don't even start on the game until the movie is done shooting. And like you said, Will, that time frame is so short. How can you expect to get a good game out of that? But I kind of want to do a flip on you too. Is one thing that we didn't do it our first episode. We didn't do it. I don't really think we're doing it this one or in the future, is reviewing games. And yeah, there's been some bad movie games out there, but there's been some games that they've been bad in a sense that they have no connection with the movie itself, but they were really, really fun. look at Die Hard. Die Hard movie, awesome. Very, very funny. Very, very awesome action pack. It's that.
It's a great Christmas movie.
Oh yeah,
It's one of my favorite Christmas movies.
yeah. It's funny that we should watch that for Christmas. And I agree. We know a guy too that's like his religious thing to do every Christmas is to watch Die Hard. Well, look, they made 2 Die Hard games. They made one that was based off the movie that was horrible, but then they made an arcade Die Hard game that was super fun.
That was like the rail shooter.
Yeah,
right.
And
Yeah,
it
that game
had
was great.
nothing to do with the movie. So I think it's all about perspective too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I played X-Men Origins Wolverine. That game was awesome. I thought that game was super fun. It was way better than the movie.
Yeah,
I thought the movie was crap, but
Yeah, on that one, X-Men's Origins Wolverine got a 75 on Metacritic, and that was probably one of the higher reviewed games on this list of different video games that came out. And back when it came out, they had this discussion of, this whole video game dilemma of how come the video game adaptation hasn't quite worked as well. One of the developers at the time said that, well, the movie kept on getting pushed back, and they had already gave us cleared for the budget to make the game, so we just kept on making the game. And since the movie was getting pushed back, that gave us more time to work on the game, and that's why we feel like at the end of the project we had a better product, because the movie was getting pushed back,
you had more time.
and they had more time to work on the game. And so that gave, out of the list here of different games I have listed, that one's definitely one of the higher ones. And one that I liked personally as a kid was Spider-Man 2.
See, I didn't play that one, but I heard it was really good.
it was.
Yeah, it was really good.
I really liked the first Amazing Spider-Man game. I thought that one was actually really fun. Like, it had the same sort of setup like Spider-Man 2 had, like the sandbox style gameplay where you could just web swing around the city.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game.
And that one,
two though, I've heard that's like one of the best
that one got an
games.
80. The very first Spider-Man had a little more realistic look to it. They wanted to kind of mimic exactly how the movie went. Well, in Spider-Man 2, they went a little more comic, a little more cell shaded, but they had the entire city to free roam and kind of go around. Think about like a Grand Theft Auto world with you being Spider-Man, just kind of swinging around the city. And they would have like auto-generated robberies and like burger, and different crimes and stuff that would happen.
It's pretty much what Amazing Spider-Man was like.
Was it?
It was just it was always you were doing something.
And they were trying to
fun
mimic
with it.
that,
Yeah.
I think, because Spider-Man 2 was a lot of people liked. You look at some of the other ones. The Indiana Jones, they made one on the Wii, and they made one on last gen, Xbox and PlayStation 2. Both of those got a 75 and a 65.
The gen before time.
Yeah.
One anomaly on here, the Lord of the Rings back on the PlayStation 2 Xbox, they both got like in the 80s, 82 and 84.
Like the Two Towers.
And Return of the King.
Those were fun.
Those were really fun.
Really good.
And it has very much of the combos and attack styles, and you can do upgrades, and you had different characters you can play.
I mean, you got to play like in the epic scenes from the movies. You got to be a part of that, and that was just awesome.
Well, you also had like an economy system, and since that you get gold, you can upgrade your weapons and your abilities.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's funny that you brought up Lord of the Rings, because I was actually going to bring that up too. You guys may or may not remember the Lord of the Rings game that they made for Super Nintendo.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, exactly. It was god awful. I remember playing that game. I didn't know where to go or do. And, it's not like I was a novice to video game playing, but they said, go this way. And I was like, which way? Literally, it said, go this way. But you can go in any direction. And then it didn't even feel like the movie. I went into a cave, and there was wolves in there. I was like, this doesn't seem anything like the book or the movie.
That was like I played the Fellowship of the Ring on original Xbox. That game was kind of set up the same way. It was like a side scroller.
Which you have 59 on Metacritic.
I hated that game. Like you would, I didn't know really what to do, and like you would. I remember like still in like the Shire, and I was jumping over like a giant mushroom, and I jumped on top of the head of one of the other hobbits, and I died and it was like game over. I couldn't figure out where to go because I kept running into him. I kept dying over and over again. Screw this game. This is terrible.
So I think we've definitely established why they were bad. We're talking about the budget, the time constraint, the fact that your whole outline of the game is already predicted on the movie. You don't have a whole lot of room to go outside that box too much because the movie already has a strict script to it, and you had to kind of stick to it. For a video game, you can add different side missions and stuff, but their beginning is pretty much the same, and your ending has to pretty much be the same.
That's what I liked about the first Amazing Spider-Man game. Was actually took place after the movie, so you had like it was like kind of like a prologue, I guess, or epilogue.
Pre-sequel.
So you had like pre-sequel. Yeah, so it kind of had a little bit of freedom with its story, and you got some of the other villains that you could, they had missions that pertained to the Rhino, which was actually done better in the game than it was in the newest movie. But you still had some cool stuff that went there, and the story was actually pretty interesting too, especially if you'd already seen the movie, obviously. But
now we'll say that they've been a bunch of different games that have came out for these movies, but at the same time they've done Lego versions of these games as well on top of it.
I was going to talk about those.
And we'll go ahead.
Those are, I really haven't played a Lego game that I haven't liked. I mean, they're done really well, really fun, and really, you can tell like the people making them really like the source material that they're basing their games off of. I mean, Lego Star Wars is fantastic. It's so good. Lego Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean, even that game was really good. I mean, they do a really good job with it, and they, with that, they have the time, and those games are really cheap to make too. So the budget's there, and they can really put out a good product.
Mm-hmm. Most out of Metacritic, there's only one game that I found. I think like Lego Hobbit had like a 69 on Metacritic, but besides that one, all the other ones had a 70 or higher, and there's been lots of different Lego games that came out.
There's at least like one or two a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they've all been better than their movie counterpart games that came out that are solely based on the movies. So, what do you think, Ken?
It's funny you brought up Legos, because I did like a lot of them, but like Lego Indiana Jones, I felt like it was such a chore for me to finish that one. I love the movies, don't get me wrong. Love the movies, but for some reason that Lego game I couldn't get into. But yeah, I love the Lego Star Wars. I love the Lego Batman. It was super fun. I didn't play the latest Star Wars one, the Clone Wars one, but I heard that one was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I heard the Harry Potter was kind of glitchy, but I played the Lego Lord of the Rings. And again, it felt like it was kind of getting away from Lego, that it was more like an open world RPG that had Lego into it. Mm-hmm. So I know they're trying
good. Because they do so many of them. It's good to see some different stuff that they're trying with them. That was, I think, the second one that had voices in it. I think Lego Batman 2 was the first one to actually have voiceover, and it was actually actors that did like the animated series. I think they did the voiceovers. Like
Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm. And then you had in Lord of the Rings, they took just like sound samples from the movie
and I like that
voiceover. That was really cool.
I like that a lot.
That was cool. It was really, really large. And not that that's a bad thing, but but it's like they made it so large that they had to put random stuff in there that didn't really fit with the movie or the lore. And it kind of felt like it took away from the Lego sense as well too, or at least that's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Like there's one mission where you have to create like a pan or a shovel, kind of like a side quest before you can progress, and it just kind of felt like that was just unnecessary. It just felt more like a filler.
There's a shovel in every Lego game though. They have to put that in there.
I know, but they made it into like part of the main mission, before you can progress. And it's like, okay, here's Lord of the Rings Lego, and then at this point we're just going to go completely left field. And then once you do that, just to fill some space, then we're going to go back and it's going to be more Lego Lord of the Rings. And then they do that randomly throughout the game, and I didn't think it was an enjoyable experience.
Not to get off topic though, but I guess would you agree that the Lego game counterparts of those movies are better than the other movies the other games that they come out with?
Oh yeah, by far the Lego games are better.
The Lord of the Rings, though, those games kind of compete with the Lego games, though, as far as like how fun they are. Because I mean, those Lord of the Rings games are so fun. I mean, they're just really easy to play and like really just action heavy. The Lord of the Rings Lego can kind of drag a little bit, but it's still really good. That's like the only instance where the counterparts kind of are competing for which one's better.
And I would think sales-wise, the Lego games probably sold a lot more.
And profitability too.
Than some of these other ones. Because they haven't done an Avengers game. They did come out with an Avengers Wii game. They got Marvel's Avengers Battle for Earth. They got like a 62 on Metacritic.
It's pretty good for a Wii game.
For a Wii game.
It's probably their top seller.
Yeah.
But they've came out with the Lego Marvel Heroes.
Awesome.
That one's done really well. That one's really fun. So the Lego games are better than the games that they come out to, be a conjunction with their movie counterpart. I think we've all probably agree on that.
Well, that game felt a lot like, remember the Marvel Ultimate Alliance? It felt like a lot like that. I thoroughly love those games.
Really good too.
Yeah.
Those are really good games, and those are basically almost Avenger games because you can be the Avengers.
Yeah.
There's like a little bonus you get for doing an Avenger group, so you can do that too. And it's.
Did you like the second one as much as the first one?
I do. I think the second one's really fun. I know like the reviews for some reason were not that great for it, but
I think it's because it didn't follow the comic books, which is stupid.
The Civil War.
Yeah, because they were saying how it's supposed to be based. They said based on the Civil War comic books. They didn't say it was going to actually follow it. Okay?
Oops.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, the story was still good. The gameplay was fun. The multiplayer was fun. The game was great. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I actually played through it again not too long ago, and it's still really fun.
I need to play that again.
See, I've got the DLC for that game, and you can't get that at all anymore.
Really?
It's gone. Yeah, because Marvel and Activision, their contract went up, and they removed the DLC from the marketplace.
What was in the DLC?
There was extra simulation missions and DLC characters. I know Cable. You could be Cable.
Oh.
Carnage.
Oh.
Yeah, those were like the two big ones. I was like,
man.
Yeah.
I quit.
Sucks to be you.
Unless you know a guy.
Yeah.
If I can find. Well, remember they did the gold version of the very first one.
They did the first one, but that's not on the second
But
one.
they didn't do it on the second one.
No, it's completely gone.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. You can come over and play it. You can be Carnage.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
it now.
I'm just kidding. I'm Carnage. You can't be Carnage.
All right. So how can they improve those games? They're going to keep doing it. I think they're going, as long as they're going to do like these type of movies that are comic book related, superheroes. They're going to come out with a video game that kind of align with that. So if you were that executive producer for that movie, how would you improve that?
Well, you had I think you need to have more. You need to give when you're doing like pre-production for the movie, get the game started then. And then kind of work with the development team, kind of get like a plan set up and start on it then, so they have time to work on it.
So before they even like hire or cast a certain character, they're already still building the game and working on the progress.
Yeah, because you could add in the voiceovers later if you need to, because you can just write the script, just have that play out, and then just later on just bring in the actors to do the voiceovers. Because I know, like you said, like the movie executives and stuff need to be more tied in with the movie. So like the latest Star Trek game that came out. Abysmal, terrible.
That was I didn't want to. I like Star Trek, so I didn't bring that one up.
Yeah,
but that one got pretty bad reviews too.
J.J. Abrams was like, "Don't play that game. It is an embarrassment. Why was that released?" But I mean, you need to have both the movie team and the video game developers kind of working together and get it started quick, and kind of give them a little bit of money to make the game too. I mean, you kind of get what you put in. Like you get a return on your investment because people are going to be interested in the game anyway. If they go to a store and they ask how the game is and they hear it's crap, they're not going to buy it. But at the same, there's some people that will buy it, but there's people who are already interested in it. If it's a good game, they'll spend $60 on it.
Yeah, and that Star Trek, the video game, got a 42.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
But I think too, you kind of somewhat hit on it, Will. Is I think people need to be more vocal in their opinions of these games.
Yeah.
They know that. I mean, how many times do you know that if a movie comes out and they make a video game for it, like, oh, it's going to be bad. You know, like you said, they buy it because they're so hyped about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get the game to get that adrenaline rush again. You know, it's like a junkie almost
Mm-hmm.
that they saw the movie. Well, they don't want to drop some more money on the movie. They want to get the game.
Especially something
get that
like
same-
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Something like that people would really want to play a game based off of.
I think people need to take a stand. And I don't think that. And this is kind of where it's going to be like a fine line because the whole point of like developers and video game design is their creativity. So you don't want to take away their creativity because just because they don't do something that you want to change the game, that's just stupid. But in the sense that you know that a movie's coming out, we're more than likely going to make a game out of it. If it's garbage, they need to voice that it's garbage. You know, not because that they didn't do something that they liked, but that it's actual, you know, a pretty junky game.
Quit spending money on it.
Exactly.
Quit buying it.
Because I bring up the whole Mass Effect thing, where they did something that people were upset about, and people were like boycotting it and said it was terrible, and you know they shouldn't do this, and it's like they have a creative right to do what they do. You know, they shouldn't have to change the game because, you know, this is done this way. They're making a game. If they don't like it, don't buy it. But if it's a game that's generally awful, like, you know, Spider-Man 2 or The Last Airbender or
What about Saw 2?
Saw 2,
Yeah, 47.
any of those games, if they're actual garbage, that's when you need to voice your opinion about, hey, this is garbage. We expect better if we're going to drop $60 on this game.
The first Saw wasn't too bad.
I got 59.
It wasn't too bad.
Got 59.
And it had an easy achievement list. I got all 1,000 in like 3 hours, so.
You didn't even really play. You just turned it on.
is
you
your-
walked away and you came back and it was 1,000 point.
Is your review solely based on the ability to get the achievements on the game?
It helps.
It helps. There's like a 10 to 15 point upswing.
If the game is terrible and the achievements are really difficult to get, it's a loss. But if I'm getting easy achievements while playing, it's like, oh, okay, at least I got that. Okay. Not entirely, but I mean, it helps to get easy achievements though.
I think the biggest thing that you spoke about, Will, to make these games better is they have to start on it early.
Yeah.
They need to get at least 2 years to make that game to get into it, or
Well,
else.
you talked about the Origins team, right?
Mhm.
Movie kept getting pushed back, so they had more time to work on the game, and
Exactly.
you got a better game.
Mm-hmm.
What a surprise!
And didn't they promote that one better? Now that I'm thinking back about it, I think they promoted that one a lot better. That it was like, hey, you know, the movie's being delayed, but once you get this game, it's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
So that was
Well,
like
it
it
was-
was an actual like legitimate Wolverine game.
It was
like,
almost
yeah.
like a normal advertisement, kind of development, like other games, because they were showing like video clips of it, and they were showing screenshots, like a normal game. Where the new, when when Halo got announced, they're gonna start showing screenshots and gameplay footage. They did that with Wolverine, so that got us more interested in it.
Yeah, and that
they,
game
they
was-
had more time to do that, so that's why they kind of did that.
This is legitimate Wolverine. It's M-rated. I mean,
Yeah.
how many movie games are M-rated?
right.
What? I don't even think the movie was R. It was
Yeah,
PG-13.
it was PG-13.
And the
so the
game
game was
is-
more violent.
That game was brutal. Like it was super bloody and
I say I have to look back at Saw, but besides Saw, I think that might be the
Saw was
only.
M-rated. Yeah,
It was M-rated.
Mhm.
There's not a whole lot of them out there. So.
yeah, and it sold pretty well.
And then we like as adult video game players, we like M-rated games, I guess. So that kind of lines up with it.
Yeah, I was looking too. It's kind of random, just a little off topic on the Metacritic thing.
Off topic.
Off topic, not really, but it kind of goes with the Metacritic. Alice in Wonderland. The movie Metacritic score is 53. That's for the movie. The Wii game got a 69. The DS got a 78.
Oh wow.
So that's another instance of the game being better than the movie
All right.
for the
thought.
DS.
Yeah.
Even the Thor DS game got like a 60 something, I think.
Yeah, it was a little higher.
Yeah,
And that maybe it's just easier. I think it was
it's easier
side-scrolling.
and cheaper to
Yeah.
make.
That's
And
what's keeping Nintendo afloat.
yeah, the Thor game.
So I guess kind of the bigger question at the end, we know why they're bad. We have some pretty good ideas of how they can fix it. Should they keep doing it? Should they stop doing this? Should they
Like stop making movie games?
Yeah, or should they just make it more of a prequel or a sequel, or should they just not do it all together? What's your thoughts
even
on
like
that?
the Star Trek game, it was a different story than what was in the movie.
It was. It took place after.
It took place after. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of a cool thing for a game to do when that's based off the movie, is be kind of like after or kind of like a side parallel to the movie. That's kind of cool. But you gotta. I don't mind them doing it just as long as it's done well. And you can kind of tell if it's just like cheap cash in, like Spider-Man 2 apparently is.
Well, it's like they know the movie is going to do well, and they expect the game to ride on the coattails of the movie, and that's probably why maybe they don't do marketing for it, is because they're like, well, the movie's going to do well, people are just going to instantly buy the game. So yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it'd be awesome if it took place after the movie. I think that's why the first The Amazing Spider-Man was actually pretty good. It wasn't the movie that you were just playing all over again. It took place after the movie.
Yeah. And I was like, I was super excited about Spider-Man 2, the game. I want a good Spider-Man game, but I mean, if it's going to be bad, I'm not going to really play it.
Play the Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 2.
So go check that out.
Go back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go back in time.
I mean, if it looks the same as Amazing Spider-Man 2 does on the PS4, I'm not really missing out.
Go
It
back.
might look better on the PS2.
Exactly.
Go to the used game store and buy the system for like $20.
Yeah.
And then get you the game for a couple $.
I've still got Shattered Dimensions to play. I played a little bit of that.
A long time ago.
That one's really good so far.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad,
Mhm.
and that was more based off a comic book series. Like a comic book arc that they
Spider-Man's
went
a yearly? Is that a yearly release? Do they have a new one like every year or so?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Well, I mean, they had the Shattered Dimensions. They also had the one
Edge of Time was
Edge of
after
Time.
that, and then was it?
the one with Venom and Wolverine.
That was Web of Shadows. That game is
Yeah.
fantastic. I really like that game. That was awesome.
They've done, out of all the superheroes, they've done more Spider-Man games than they've done any other one,
Mhm.
and they've been hit and miss for the most part. Obviously they've had 5 different movies that have come out at this point, so obviously there's more potential for more of those games have been released. But I mean, they're still hit and miss. I think obviously some of the non-movie based ones have been better just because they had kind of free range and they had like the combat upgrade and all that fun stuff.
Heartburn.
So just to get a yes or no question, should they keep doing it or they should stop that?
Yes, only if they change their methods.
That's not
Okay.
yes or no.
Yes, it is. It's a yes. Yes, I want
Yes,
to keep
and then
doing
some.
it, but they need to. They obviously need to fix it. Yes, but they need to fix it. And if they don't fix it, then my answer will turn into a no.
Okay, so that's Ken's response.
I
Well,
I agree. As long as they put effort into it and do a good one, yeah. If it's just going to be just a cash in, just don't even bother releasing it.
gotcha. Okay,
What about you?
that's a very good question.
Thank you.
So I obviously I spent some time researching it.
See what he did there?
Spent some time researching it. Went back through all here. There was some of these games that I did play that I had really good memories as a kid playing. Star Wars Episode 3, you get that 60, but I remember having a lot of fun with that game because it was almost kind of arcade style where you had like your Jedi and you would
that was
fight
a
like
side
another-
scroller too, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you had like the battles at the end, and then it was like, kind of a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter kind of thing. You had to block, and you had different moves and powers, and you could knock someone into like another level, and you jump down and fight. And I really had a lot of fun with that game. And then you look at the score, I'm like, man, that wasn't a very good score. So maybe think about, obviously, if you're invested in the franchise, I'd probably have a lot more fun on that Star Trek game than most people did. If they're not a big fan of Star Trek, then they're probably not going to be as forgiving with some of the mistakes for it. I obviously feel like there need to be improvements with these games. It does give the potential for a larger library, because if they took out every single video game that came out based on the movie, we would have a lot less out there, won't we? I mean, and we complained last week how there's not enough games right now for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. If we took out all those video games that was based off of movies, we would have less, and we'd be complaining more. So it was definitely better than nothing. I do agree they got to change the method. Looks like if you look at kind of the timeline, looks like they've gotten worse than better over the years. You
So
know,
I remember you were talking about that episode 3, the side scroller, when that actually kind of calls back to the Super Nintendo Star Wars games. Those were really good.
Those are really good.
Those were
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's why kind of that last statement. It seems like starting with the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and working their way up, that they've gotten worse over the years.
E.T.
The three small, the ones that they just recently dug up.
Yeah.
They had to blow in the cartridge before it worked.
It'll still work.
Well, I was gonna say, surprisingly, I think one of them did work. I think it did. They were playing it right there in the desert.
They had to take like a blow dryer and just like get the dust out, but it finally did work. What are you doing?
Phone's off.
What?
Silence.
Terrible.
I'm not editing that out.
But they've seen
That's
like
my
they've
day
gotten
job talking.
they've gotten worse over the years, and so they definitely need to kind of step back and go, okay, kind of like what the Marvel executive said for the Avengers game. They're not going to do one until they find the right developer and that makes sense and it's a good quality product. Because he said that they left with a bloody nose for when they did the Captain America and Thor, so they're not going to make that same mistake make that same mistake again.
I mean, if they did Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Avengers,
Oh my god.
bam.
Sold.
That's how you do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there's Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 came out 4 years ago,
Mhm.
5 years ago. That's been a long
It's
time.
been a while,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people still like that game. They want another one. Put Avengers on the end of it, and boom.
That's it.
Yeah, you can print money.
So
Like GTA.
So I
Yeah.
do like how, Marvel kind of said, hey, we're going to make it right when we're going to do it. And I think more people need to have that approach with it instead of throwing these millions of dollars at these video games that aren't going to get their return on investment. And obviously with the increase of different sequels that come out, instead of these new IPs, we just come out with sequels of the same games because we know that they work. I think eventually these companies that make these video games off of movies are going to get that as well. And I think hopefully that's a good thing, as time goes on.
Ultimately, too, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, like reviews on games. Ultimately, as long as you have fun with the game, that's all that matters. Don't listen to reviews, no matter what, another company might say. If you enjoy the game, that's great. Play the game. Don't listen to what other people have to say.
Yeah, I mean, you always look at reviews as kind of like guidelines, like it's got this in it, but it's also got this in it, kind of thing. You never want to really look at the score. You kind of just want to see like the pros and cons of it. Because I mean, you're saying like you only play games like 8s or 9s or something. I mean, a 6 or 7 isn't necessarily a bad review. Like I said, if you like that kind of game, like if you like what it's based off on, you'll probably really like it if it's scored a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I said, I like the Saw movies. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I really love those movies. So I enjoyed the game. I didn't play the second one, but the first one I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because there's been lots of games that I played that got really bad reviews or okay reviews. And I think another aspect is I actually do read reviews, but I actually don't look at the score. I'll read what the game is about, and if that's something that's appealed to me, then I'll buy the game. And once I played it, then I'll look at the review and I'll see if it's something that I would have given it as well too. I think that makes it for a more enjoyable experience. Because I do want to read about it, make sure that it's something that I will enjoy. But I don't want to look at the score in case, I get, this sounds awesome, it sounds awesome, it sounds awesome. It only got a 6? Well, I don't want to play this now.
Yeah, that's
Even though-
one of the problems with Metacritic is people will just look at that and see the review like,
Yeah.
ugh.
And sometimes when you're on a budget, you only want to buy that game. You only buy one game a month or something like that. You're going to look at these scores as, I want to spend my money on a good quality product. And if they see something on there that gets a 6 to a 7, they may pass on that and wait for that 8 or 9 to come out, or that rare perfect score.
Well, fair enough too. I mean, if you can't buy multiple games, I mean, you want to get the most bang out of your bang for your buck.
Bang for your buck.
Yeah.
So I guess in the end, beauty, it's kind of the eye of the beholder, and that goes for the same way with video games as well. So it's all about perspective in that way. So we're
My mind has been blown.
so we're gonna take just a quick break, and we're gonna get back to just our final little secret topic. We're gonna stick with the secret topic.
No touching.
And just a reminder, Facebook, Twitter, go find us on there. and we'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Woo!
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome back. We're on our last segment of episode 2 for Freshly Squeezed Nerd. Hope you've enjoyed the show. So this last part here just got kind of a secret question. These guys don't know what I'm going to ask if they haven't been reading my notepad at all. Hopefully not.
I didn't read that part on your notepad, so this
Everything's kind of blurry and doubled at this point.
I'm going to start putting code on here. So recently they just announced the new Agent Carter TV show. They have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They have Arrow. They just announced a new Flash coming out. The new Gotham's coming out. There's a lot of TV-based shows on these, based off comic books, and the superheroes. So my question to you, if you had to pick one today, which one would it be? It doesn't necessarily have to be off of comic books. It could be off of something else, maybe, but something that we haven't seen on TV, and maybe describe of how you want to see it act out. What style do you want it to be? Who wants to go first?
I would like to see Will go first.
Okay, Will's gonna go first.
And this has just kind of popped into my head. I would actually like to see. I mean, one of my favorite villains is Carnage. Love Carnage and Cletus Cassidy. How might make that like a show kind of like Dexter-ish? That style stuff. You can make it really dark and just depressing and gory and nasty, but just Carnage and Cletus Cassidy is kind of the main character, and just follow him around in his antics.
King concurs with that.
Yeah, because that'd be cool. I mean, you wouldn't have him like obviously like losing because he's the main character, so he kind of goes on for a long time, just kind of doing his own thing, and still kind of like not being as out in the open as he is obviously in the comic books, but just have him as Cletus Cassidy and can turn into Carnage or whatever. I think that'd be kind of cool.
So a Dexter style Carnage TV show.
Yeah.
On Showtime?
Of course. Some sort of like premium channel. You'd have
where you can get away with most of the stuff that Carnage can do.
Exactly. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay. All right. What about you, Ken?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
But not in a sense, again, not in a sense like the Harry Potter, the kiddie version of magic. But like he has kind of a dark story as well too. And I think if it was done well, kind of like his beginning story, how he's a doctor and stuff, basically how the comic book is. But again, more dark, really use those visual special effects because they do some really cool magic stuff. I think that would be visually appealing on TV. And I think he's such a fun character and a very underutilized character that you probably have a lot of potential there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty cool. When you said Carnage, and you were thinking of that kind of darker storyline, and maybe think of Punisher.
Punisher would be awesome.
As a good kind of TV show, because essentially every episode could be a different villain because he gets like new assignments or new target to go after. I think they can definitely do that like on a TV show, episodic kind of based each episode. But I also kind of thought, I'm a big sci-fi guy, so I love Star Trek, and I wish Star Trek was on TV. So maybe if they did more of a Mass Effect on TV, but almost kind of like that Star Trek kind of style.
Farscape?
Star Trek. Mass Effect.
I mean, they've kind of, with Mass Effect, they kind of have their own sort of lore to build upon.
Oh, exactly.
Like a ton.
So you could follow like a crew and have like, each episode you have a new mission or new style, and that you have different aliens that go through and different planets, and I think that could really work really well on a TV base. The rumor is that Universal Studios is hinting at a new Mass Effect movie in the next couple of years, so maybe think about that as a good one. But then the Punisher came to mind as kind of a darker kind of story.
Punisher would fit TV really well, I think.
Yeah,
that kind of character, and you wouldn't, and you could probably do Punisher on a TV show budget.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a Showtime show budget. Yeah. You could do Punisher really well with that.
Of course, nowadays you see TV shows like Walking Dead and Dexter and Mad Men and Game of Thrones. There's huge TV budgets on there, and they could do some pretty good,
It couldn't be on something like ABC or NBC. It would have to be like on
HBO,
or
yeah.
Showtime.
Disney Kids.
Yeah.
Welcome to Punisher Hour.
ABC Family.
Yeah.
Mommy, what
It's
just
right,
happened?
it comes on right after Seventh Heaven.
That's funny. So that was my secret topic, just kind of food for thought with all the TV shows coming out, the Gotham and Arrow and all that fun stuff. So interesting to see what they come out with
A
next.
lot of DC stuff. Other than the Shield, there's not a lot of Marvel.
No, I mean,
is Shield's it, isn't it? As far as Marvel stuff goes.
besides Agent Carter, it's coming out, and then Agents of Shield. All the other ones are on the CW,
No.
and they're
CW have some sort of like affiliation with Warner Brothers.
Well, they technically are owned by Warner Brothers.
Are they?
I think.
Yeah, remember?
Oh, it's WB20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ring ring, get into my head.
Warner Brothers.
That's right.
We're gonna get
Yeah.
flacked about that now.
Wah, wah, wah.
Remember the Batman, the animated series? It had like the little Warner Brothers symbol at the beginning, and then it like panned out to Batman like on the rooftop and the lightning.
And the
bolt.
Animaniacs were in the water tower.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where the Animaniacs are from. I get it now.
15 years later,
It all
everybody-
makes sense.
He just had an epiphany. Will just had an epiphany on the show.
I have to go take
So.
a nap now. That was exhausting.
So great topics, everybody. Great discussions. We're gonna have more next week. Will actually is gonna be hosting the next episode, and he's gonna give us a slight little teaser on next week's episode.
Yeah, next week, main topic is going to deal with, are video games nowadays too easy?
Dun dun dun.
Discuss more next time.
Gotcha. So something tells me that Dark Souls might be a topic.
That might be what I base the whole thing off of
Yeah.
is
Hour and a half podcast of Dark Souls.
I would listen to that.
So just a reminder, everybody, we are Freshly Squeezed Nerd. We're going to be on Facebook and Twitter, and our episodes will be on YouTube and iTunes, and more to come after that. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter because we're going to be sending new announcements and updates as we see them. That way you don't have to follow everybody else. You can just follow us, and we'll compact it and squeeze it into one feed and one channel for everyone.
Freshly.
It's going to be fresh for everybody to see. So,
Puffable.
No pulp.
So as again, I'm your host Josh,
I'm Will.
And I'm Ken.
and you've been freshly squeezed.
Yeah.